guys, welcome back to Room 237, back with another review. And I am continuing my kind of sort of marathon of more extreme horror films. And this is one that I just picked up the other day. Had never seen it before. I'm familiar with the director. And like a number of these films that I picked up recently, this is the Blu-ray put out by Unearthed Films. And this is an early film by writer-director Ryan Nicholson, who passed away in 2019 of brain cancer, which is unfortunate. And it is 2009's Hanger, which I had heard of. I'd seen this cover before. I'd seen it at the store I go to, I don't know how many times. I knew it was a Ryan Nicholson film. And when it comes to Ryan Nicholson, again, may he rest in peace. Of all due respect to him, I've seen and reviewed Gutterballs and Live Feed. Neither one I was a fan of. In fact, I think I hated Live Feed. Gutterballs, I liked the kills. I liked the idea of like an 80s slasher, but and the effects. But I just thought it was kind of insufferable to sit through. So this was a first time watch. I have not seen Gutterballs 2, Balls Deep. Torched, his first film, even though I've heard a lot of people like that one. Famine, I also haven't seen. There's a number of his films I haven't seen, but I'm always willing to check his films out because kind of like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth, even though I'm not a fan of their films, I always feel like there's something there. There's always something that I can like or appreciate. And I'm curious to see if there's at least one that I can say, this is a good movie. I will say, of all of them, this one might have been the most entertaining that I've seen so far, at least of his films. I believe this was his third one, Torched, Gutterballs, then this. But yeah, this is definitely not what I was expecting. I had seen the original poster online, which was this. So I actually thought it was kind of a play on the term like hangry. I thought it was going to be like a zombie movie, being hangry. No. It opens with a graphic warning ahead of time, a coat hanger abortion. In fact, the opening credits says a Ryan Nicholson abortion. Kind of like a Martin Scorsese picture or a Spike Lee joint. This is a Ryan Nicholson abortion. And that's just to start things off. And we see everything. This has a ton of nudity, graphic nudity, violent nudity, a ton of stuff. And so yeah, written and directed by Ryan Nicholson, co-written with Patrick Coble. It does have some familiar faces in it. Dan Ellis, who's on the cover. He was the janitor in Gutterballs. He was the male patient in American Guinea Pig Bloodshock. So I've seen him before. Debbie Rochon is like a 90s scream queen, done stuff for Trauma. She was in more so erotic kind of softcore horror films like Santa Claus, Final Examination, Playmate of the Apes, stuff like that. While Wade Gibb, Alistair Gamble, and Nathan Dashwood were all in Gutterballs. Alistair Gamble was the lead asshole Steve, who was insufferable. Wade Gibb was one of his friends, one with like the denim and the popped collar. And Nathan Dashwood was the one that reminded me of Skull from Bulk and Skull of Power Rangers, who got his head shoved into the ball polisher. They're all in this. And Nathan Dashwood is the one that plays the titular character Hanger. They even named him after the coat hanger. We also have Candace Lewald, Ronald Patrick Thompson, and a few other people. But so it has some it appears by Lloyd Kaufman, who plays a transvestite prostitute in the opening of the film. And Ryan Nicholson has a cameo as the vagrant that finds the aborted fetus in the beginning of the film. I did like the music. The music was done by Patrick Coble, who co-wrote it, and Jay Gavin did the cinematography and the editing. Now, one thing I can say about Ryan Nicholson that I do like about him as a filmmaker is he always embraces and makes the best of his low budgets. I mean, they're all very low budget films. He still makes the best of it and works within what he has. He embraces it. I appreciate that. Uh, he does have, he knows what's gross. He knows how to make good effects. I'm not sure who did special effects on this. I think it was. Normally, these kind of films will say who does. Oh, prosthetic effects created by Michelle Grady of Life to Death FX. Okay. Which, I mean, there's one death that looks straight out of the 80s and a lot of gross out stuff. I would say his stories always work. Uh, I like the story to Gutterballs. Live Feed was pretty much a rip-off of Hostel. I do like the story to this. Uh, I will say the characters are in script is far less sufferable than in Gutterballs. The characters and the acting and just the dialogue in Gutterballs was one of the hardest things to sit through. This didn't quite have that. The story is basically okay, so the pimp gets mad at this prostitute, played by Debbie Rochon, named Rose, because she's pregnant, not making much money. So he gives her coat hanger abortion. She dies because of it. He throws the fetus in the trash can, found by a vagrant. 18 years later, a friend of the prostitute, one of her regular Johns, who's only credited as the John, played by Dan Ellis. He meets up with the vagrant and wants to take his son in. He's the biological father. And he says, I got you a job at this recycling place. You're going to be working with a friend of mine named Russell, played by Wayne Gibb. But at the same time, you and I are going to get revenge on the pimp named Leroy for what he did to your mother, my love, and what he did to you. That's the story. And Hanger is severely deformed. He's got jagged, jaws-like teeth, scarred up face. He does have a colostomy bag that I think is only like a sock, but he has a colostomy bag that does come into play later. And yeah, he's kind of ravenous. In fact, the reveal of his face, because he always has this camo hoodie with like a scarf or something pulled up. The first time we actually see his face, the way he looks, and the fact it's in like a back seat of a truck and just how it looks, it reminded me of Dan Aykroyd's monster reveal in the beginning of the Twilight Zone movie. And it's plenty gory, plenty graphic. I would say this one, not really sure. I was going to say I feel like the try-hard aspect of trying to be extreme, even though this one has a lot more extreme stuff than, say, Live Feed and Gutterballs, I would feel like the try-hard aspect doesn't feel as harsh as those films. Because this one is definitely embracing just its gross out and its extremity. Whereas Gutterballs really felt like it was trying to shove it in your face. Like a Rob Zombie movie. Just edgelord trying too hard to be edgy and extreme. So yeah, while this one is definitely heavier, it doesn't feel like it's trying as hard. It feels more natural. Maybe because the characters and the environment fits it well. Or maybe because the story is already so out there that it just fits right in. And pretty much every character has some sort of perversion. Uh, in fact, just say where they shot it. 'Cause this is a Canadian film. Just want to see where it was shot. Does not say. But It was shot at this real functioning motel where prostitutes frequent. And the hotel room that Russell and Hanger live in was left as is when they got there. So just you can almost smell the room through the TV. All the porno magazine pages taped to the wall, the mess, the filthy couch, everything was there when they got there. So it's a very authentic feeling atmosphere. But yeah, each character has some sort of perversion. Russell is supposed to be like this Chinese man with Down syndrome. At least that's what I read. But he ends up looking more like Three Finger from one of the lower Wrong Turn sequels, but with like black bowl cut. He looks more like Three Finger. He's kind of a child. You know, he's kind of happy to have this new friend and looks up to Hanger. But he's obsessed with porn and tampons. This other guy they work with, Phil, played by Steve the asshole from Gutterballs, he has a thing for date rape, and he has a thing for Russell and Hanger. The they're the owner of the junkyard. His daughter like works in the office. She has a thing for masturbating whenever she can with pens in the office. And Hanger just has a bloodlust. I mean, we see him bite the tit off a Jehovah's Witness and then just keep biting on her till she dies. And it's basically just his dad trying to set up this revenge. And the character of Hanger, it does kind of do a good job at trying to make him this sympathetic monster, kind of like, you know, Frankenstein's monster. He is kind of an Elephant Man type character. He's always hiding his face. He's always kind of cowering. Always has a teddy bear. Has a very soft-spoken voice. Talks like a child. But and I noticed whenever some of these actors have heavy makeup or masks, they're always doing like this kind of head kind of acting, which is a little over the top. And whenever his teeth are shown, he's always just going like that a lot. But as for the deaths, I mean, we see a bum just get run over. This one prostitute gets her head smashed in a truck door, which, I mean, and we see it crushed like a cantaloupe. Good effect. It does look like something from the 80s. You know, it's not realistic, but it's a cool effect. Everything's practical. I give it credit for that. The abortion is pretty graphic. I mean, we see full-on vagina on the screen with the coat hanger up it. There is some graphic, gross stuff with the colostomy bag mixed with date rape as well. Gross stuff with periods and tampons as well. And yeah, it's a movie that kind of makes you want to take a shower after. It's very effective in that regard. Is the revenge and the ending satisfying? It's very quick. It doesn't feel like a big epic showdown or anything that feels like a culmination of everything we've seen, but I guess it's okay. And I think one of the best parts of the film is the relationship between Hanger and Russell. It just seems like these two deformed kind of misfits who are friends. This kind of feels like if Ryan Nicholson, which this does feel like a Ryan Nicholson movie, like if Gutterballs was his slasher, this feels like his almost inbred Gummo movie. I mean, every character has something with them, so it kind of reminded me of Gummo. Excuse me. And Alistair Gamble as Phil, even he has some heavy prosthetics, so he's not recognizable. A Jehovah's Witness gets her tit completely bitten off, and Uh, it is. It might not be as splattery and like and gory like say Gutterballs, but it definitely has the gross out angle. I mean, a colostomy hole being fucked with just obvious chocolate pudding oozing out of it. Uh, and then part of that revenge is getting the colostomy bag dumped on his face. The whole thing with Russell wanting to make tea with tampons. That whole sequence and everything is gross. But yeah, it feels like it's what makes it enjoyable or entertaining, less try hard than Gutterballs is it feels like it's just embracing what it is, just a low budget, I guess extreme, just gross out flick. Whereas Gutterballs, it kind of felt like it was trying to be this 80s slasher, but with, you know, as much hardcore stuff as it could fit. Whereas here, it's just embracing what it is. And it's 91 minutes. It goes at a great pace. It keeps moving. This Blu-ray has a ton of special features, including what's called the Colostomy Bag Edition, or Hanger XXX, which is exactly the same movie, only it does have more of like its pre-mastered look. It doesn't have the polished, finished look. It looks more shot on video. Exact same movie, only there's a hardcore insert towards the end where Leroy uses the reception girl to lure Russell into the office. And even that hardcore insert doesn't make sense because of how they're talking to each other. The insert, and then when it cuts back, it's like, how could that have happened? Of his, rubber member going inside of her, pulling out with blood because she's on her period. Yeah, this movie's it's gross. It is. The atmosphere of it, the characters in it definitely makes you feel like you want to scrub yourself after. The story's pretty wild. I mean, I like the revenge aspect in this. See this defigured, grown, this man that was defigured from a botched abortion, getting revenge with his biological father, and then just having all these horrible prostitutes and perverted, deformed people. It's fun. I mean, I definitely liked it more than Gutterballs. Gutterballs might actually, well, Gutterballs does have the default of looking and feeling like an 80s slasher film, but I would say this one was definitely paced better, acted better, even though it has some of the same actors. Uh, it is acted better, with the shining example being Dan Ellis, even though I thought he was the better actor in Gutterballs as well. But, also Wayne Gibb, Alistair Gamble, and Nathan Dashwood, all of which were the insufferable assholes, some of them, from Gutterballs. They all have a different kind of role in this, so I give them credit for that. I will say Gamble, going from Steve to Phil, is kind of similar, but it's toned down. I give him credit for just going for it. If something is gross or horrific, he just went for it. And it does work within the world of the film. I mean, everything has similar, like if you watch Taxi Driver or New York Ripper, you just feel like you gotta clean after. But yeah, definitely more entertaining than Gutterballs. I was actually surprised by it. Can I say I liked it? I would go as far as saying I liked the film. There's just more about it I liked than some of his other films that I've seen. But if this does happen to be the best one I see of his, I guess that's fine. But if I see any that I like more than this, then I'm all for that because I didn't hate this movie. I didn't even have any major flaws with it. But it definitely is, so far, the best Ryan Nicholson movie that I've seen. And again, even though I'm not a biggest fan of his work, may he rest in peace. It's tragic that he died. And yeah, that is Hanger from 2019. I'm going to see if I can pick up Torched. I do know I can get Torched at the store that I go to. I'm not sure about Famine. Maybe I'll check out Gutterballs 2 as a curiosity, but yeah, not bad. Pretty wild film. Good. Glad I can say I at least saw it once just to see what's in it, but yeah, know what you're getting into ahead of time. Because, like I said, botched coat hanger abortions where everything is shown, colostomy bag, sex, in every effect, also the period tampon stuff, and every effect surrounding that is done to the fullest, most graphic, grossest way possible. So that's his 2009 film Hanger. I have a number of more extreme films to do and coming, so stay tuned for those, and thank you for watching.